Hello, welcome to Going Through Major Changes and Adding a Minor To, brought to you by the Center for Academic Achievement and the LaSalle Co-Explorers. I am Reg Kim. I'm one of the student success coaches here at LaSalle University, and I am joined today by two very special people that you will get to know over the course of this quick little workshop. I'll introduce them in a second, but why don't you both say hi real quick?
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Kettles.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
So we'll get to know them, like I said, in a minute, but I think one of the main themes we want to capture today in this workshop is um, figuring out what you want to do in college. Doesn't necessarily have to be something that's a stagnant or a static proposition. This is something that could be fluid, and it takes even some people 4 years to figure out what they really want to do with their lives through their college experience. Vanessa and Jacqueline have some experience in figuring out their majors over the first couple of years. And so one of the themes that we want to kind of instill here right at the beginning is that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And if you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. That's from someone named Steve Jobs. I don't know who that guy is, but he sounded really cool. I'm sure he made a lot of money doing something or other at some point in his life. Um, just kidding. We all know who Steve Jobs is. He created Windows computers, and so he's just really great. And so he knew, he found his passion. And hopefully we help you figure out what it is you really want to study and how you want to move forward with your LaSalle experience. And now here's our chance to get to know our speakers for today. First up, Vanessa.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Sigwarth. My pronouns are she, her. I graduate in May of 24. My initial major was undeclared health sciences, and my current major is social work with a minor in criminal justice.
And our second speaker for today is Jacqueline.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline. My initial major was communication sciences and disorders, and I have since added Spanish. So I now have a communication sciences disorders and Spanish dual major and a psychology minor.
So what we're going to do today is just have a little conversation, talking about their journeys and how they came to their different majors and whether there's a possibility of even changing it even further as they progress through their academic journey. So hold on to your hats. Here we go. Hello, I started recording and I didn't tell you all we were starting to record. So let's just talk about when you first got to LaSalle, or even before you got to LaSalle, and you're deciding on what major you should take here. How did you come to your first major or your initial major?
So both my parents are in the health sciences field. And so I knew I wanted to do something along the lines of that. I always really enjoyed like seeing what they did. But I realized I didn't really want to do like nursing or be a doctor because I didn't really want to do with like the blood and all that stuff. So I was thinking about therapies, what therapies I can do. And I knew that speech therapy was like an up and coming major. There was a lot of demand in the field. So I decided to do that. And then it was just a matter of finding a school that had the major that I liked.
And LaSalle happened to be one of those, so that's cool. How about you, Vanessa?
So I am on my town's emergency medical service. I have been since I was 18, and I really enjoyed that. And my aunt was a nurse, so I thought, obvious choice was nursing. And I found that it just wasn't quite what I wanted to do. So I quickly went on to be undecided like halfway through my freshman first semester.
Yeah, so it sounds like for both of y'all, your family and the environment that you came from had a lot of influence on deciding what you wanted to do. At what point did it feel like that you maybe should investigate other sorts of majors or add other things to your plate?
For me, I was in a special program in kindergarten through high school where I was in a Spanish immersion program. So I started learning Spanish in kindergarten and I became fluent in about the fourth grade. So I figured adding on a Spanish major might make me more desirable for future jobs. So I thought,
Mhm.
why not add that on? And there happens to be a special program at LaSalle where it's a dual major. So you don't have to take all the credits of a double major, but you still get the recognition of both majors. And then I decided to add on the psych minor because I had all these elective credits that I had to take and I didn't know what I wanted to take. So I figured, why not put them all towards one minor and get that credit rather than taking a bunch of different electives.
So when you say that you added the major and the program was already set, that's specifically for the speech therapy major, right?
Correct.
And did you know that before you got to LaSalle that you would have the option to add Spanish as a second major?
I knew that I could add a double major, so I could like have another major of whatever I wanted, but I didn't know that we have that special program with the two majors.
And then at what point did you figure out that that was possible?
I was talking to my advisor and he said, well, we have this program and you already know Spanish, so you might as well take it. And I did it.
Cool. So it sounds like your advisor was really involved and knew you and what you wanted to try to accomplish with your degree and such. How about you, Vanessa? At what point did it start feeling like maybe you should think about other majors or other pathways?
So, for me personally, I knew within the first like week or two of my freshman year, like I had loved being in my careers in health sciences class, but I hated all of the sciences that came along with it, like the biology, and I didn't want to take chem. So I very quickly realized that nursing was just not for me and it was time to move on and look for other things.
So when you were thinking about nursing before you got here,
Mhm.
um, what was your impression about nursing that was challenged by seeing all these science classes?
Well, it wasn't about like seeing all of them. I felt it was going to be kind of similar to the class I took to become an EMT.
Hmm.
So I had taken biology twice beforehand, it like as a college class, and it just didn't equate to it. So I was like, maybe different different places do it differently, and I'm not a fan of how it's done here.
Mhm.
So maybe it's time to look for something else that I still enjoy,
Yeah.
but that's not nursing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that actually is a common experience because we have lots of students that come in from high school with like CNA training or certification to be a certified nursing assistant. And that coursework is really hands-on, really practical, but then you get to a bachelor's level institution, a four-year college, and you realize, oh, I have to learn a lot of the theoretical and the background knowledge and even go more than what I really need to know specifically for my career to ground me and set a foundation, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's the same thing that happened in terms of speech pathology too, right? Where you could come in as with some training for the classroom to be a resource aide or a teaching assistant in a resource classroom or for a speech pathologist, but that's very different from learning all the anatomy of the mouth that you ended up having to learn and all of these other theoretical things that kind of ground and set a foundation for your learning moving forward.
Yeah.
Did it How did you all react emotionally to some of these changes that were happening? Did it feel like, were you optimistic? Were you pessimistic? Did you feel like it was a new opportunity for you? Or did it feel like as you go in and out of being blurry, did it feel like you were, yeah, what were some of the emotions that y'all felt?
I think for me it was different because I was being told like all these things like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. This won't be good for you. This won't be good for you. Like this will be good for you. But like in reality, no one knows what will be good for you, what won't be good for you. Only you know that. And it's it's important to know what you want to do or what direction you want to do before going to talk to other people, because ultimately it's your choice, it's your life that you're living. No one else is going to live that. So you have to know what exactly what to do. And for me, I always knew I wanted to do speech therapy. I'm still solidified in that choice, but it was just a matter for me of adding more things on to make me more desirable.
Mhm. How about
For
you,
me,
Vanessa? Yeah, what was your emotional journey?
I was very, like I said, I had a very rough first 2 weeks of class. I came in during COVID, so that probably didn't help. But I felt relieved and optimistic looking for, towards the future, knowing that I had resources and places I could go to express my hopes for the future in order to look into the best major that'll help me get to that point.
Hmm.
And for me, something that I really like about LaSalle and is really nice is that you can go to your professors and you can get hands-on experience. Like for me, at LaSalle, there is a speech clinic, and I get to go in and I get to experience different clients and I get to see how that is. And I now that has solidified my choice even more, but maybe I could have gone in and said, I really don't want to do this. So now I know that I want to do other things than having to go out to a different business or having to go to somewhere else to shadow. I can do it right at LaSalle.
Mm.
And I know that's a possibility for a lot of majors. And I really recommend you explore that if you have any like trepidations.
Yeah, so you had an ability to kind of figure things out as you kept going and practicing some of this stuff, right? Which is different from other schools.
Mhm.
How about you, Vanessa? What's happening in your majors that give you the chance to kind of figure that out as you go?
Okay, so social work majors, once you hit your junior year, which hi, I'm in, your second semester, so your spring semester of your junior year, you get your first internship and it lasts the duration of 1 semester. So you get to see like there's a lot of different things that go with social work. You can do generalist practice, like you can go to schools or you can I personally want to be a therapist, so there's ways that you can go to counseling centers or behavioral health or something like that. And then your second internship is during your senior year, which lasts all year. So from the beginning of your fall semester to when you graduate as a senior, you're in that second internship. So you get to explore the different kinds of social work and you get to explore social work as a whole to make sure like that it's really what you want to do. It also, you have to like apply to the major in your junior year. So you have to explain like why you would want to be a social work major and like what makes this something that you would want to do. Plus, all of the social work professors are social workers. So you get that experience from them. You can always go talk to them and like they're going to keep it real with you.
Mm-hmm. And so from both of you all stories, you're saying your faculty helped guide you to some of these practical opportunities. But even in doing these practical opportunities, you're learning more and more about your major and about your field, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost as if you've been growing in your knowledge of these majors the whole time. It just has been, you started with a broad general knowledge and you just keep learning more and more and you keep seeing more and more opportunities, right?
Yeah. But in my opinion, the important thing to know is that, at least for me, my professors didn't just hand out this opportunity for me to go to the clinic. I had to reach out and I had to say, and that's something that I think is really important. Like, don't wait for opportunities to be presented to you. Try to seek out opportunities, because in my case, I'm now getting contact hours that I can use towards grad school applications that are not being handed out to every student in the program. And you can get extra help, extra things by just reaching out.
Yeah.
So make sure to use those resources that you have at the school.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Yeah, go ahead, Vanessa.
I'm lucky as a social work major, you have to have an internship. Like it's a very practical major. You have to have a certain amount of hours to graduate, but it's also a go out and do your own kind of thing. Like you have to apply, you have to make your resume, you have to know, like have a kind of a sense of where you want to intern at. So you still have to take that initiative, but you also like it's still something that's required to make sure that you actually want to do these things and you're going into the right thing that you want to do.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about both of your fields is that you have a skill that you're learning, right?
Mhm.
But you're also can apply it in so many different types of settings, right? So, you don't have, like, if you're doing speech pathology, you don't have to be in a school. You could do it private practice, you could do it in a clinic, you could do it in other sort of settings. You could work with older people, the elderly, or you could work with really young people. Like, there's such a range. And same with social work, there's a range of things that you could do. How did you know these things before you actually jumped into these majors?
I think I knew there was a broad range of possibilities, but I didn't realize I knew you could work like babies up to elderly people, but I didn't know the wide range of like locations or what um specific specialties you can go into, because at least in speech there's 9 specialties that you can go into, and I didn't realize that all the things we practiced, I kind of just thought it was correcting a lisp. So now I know.
Yeah.
For me, I also didn't know like the full range. Like when I went into, or it was before I learned, but before I had met like the director of social work, I didn't know that I could become a therapist. I didn't know that there was a 4+1 group, a 4+1 program here for it. I didn't know that there was so many things that you could do with a generalist social work degree, that it was really interesting. In that careers in health sciences class, the teacher brought in the director of social work, the chair, and she spoke about it, and I learned so many things that I never knew, because usually when you think of social work, you either think of child protective services or someone working with the government, and you don't have to be. And it was really interesting learning about that and finding that out.
So then in this class, you had the opportunity, full disclosure, I taught that class, so Vanessa was a student in that class. But you had the opportunity to learn about lots of different majors, and even getting these people to talk specifically about their majors. You learned that it's just way bigger than you probably could have imagined or even
Yeah.
had experienced, right?
It's like
But
that with all of the major the chairs that you brought in. Like I
yeah,
learned so much about all of the different majors and stuff.
so what would you recommend then for somebody who um maybe did not have a class like that? How would, I mean, this is for both of you, like, if you haven't had a class where someone, made you get a grade for listening to somebody from other departments like I did, what are some ways that we could do that here? And what are some ways that you could pursue that on your own?
So I first think the step is speaking with your success coach. I think they can get you the resources, point you in the right direction, or even just help you. In the Student Success Center, we have a whole booklet of all the majors that we offer, which can be overwhelming. But if you know that you want to go into like business, or you want to do health sciences, we have that whole booklet that can show you what you can do with those majors, which I think is a really nice step in the right direction.
So
Um,
what exactly is in this booklet, do you think? Or not, do you think, but yeah, could you explain a little bit more for the people who don't have it in front of them?
Yeah, so it has all the majors that are all the majors at our school, all the minors at our school, and then it lists if you need an internship, what school it's under, the School of Business, School of Arts and Sciences, School of Health Sciences, and then it lists what professions you can go into or where you can work, what you can do with it. So I think it's really helpful if you have no idea at all, you can look at like what you can do, what potential, or what you might want to pursue if you have a little bit more narrow of a focus.
Yeah, that's cool.
I will always suggest having conversations with people. Like the chairs love talking, or the ones that I've met love talking about their their thing. Like they are so willing to have conversations with you. So just go have a conversation. They're not going to judge you for like asking questions. They're going to encourage them. So there's
Yeah.
no harm in it. So
Yeah, I think that's really important to remember, right? You're coming in wanting to know about the thing that they've spent their whole life doing. Of course, they're going to want to talk to you about it, right? And they're going to want, even if you have no knowledge of it, even if you have negative knowledge of it, they're going to want to address that because they want you to be involved and find what they find valuable, just as valuable, right? So it's really it's a good point. Like you get to talk to people about the thing that they love talking about. In fact,
Yeah.
that's what they get paid to talk about, right? So that's cool. I will also suggest in talking to your student success coaches, all of the student success coaches have been trained in using one of our digital tools called the Focus 2, which is set up. There's a LaSalle students get a subscription to this vocation and major discovery website. And it's built upon lots of different factors of using your personality, what you like to do in your free time, your values, what you think about your family and how your family plays a role, and then just your own personal sort of academic goals, and combining all of those things together. And then they punch it into the computer and it says, you should be a, forestry major. And then you're like, oh, I never even thought of that. I guess I do like being outside and, having time to myself and reading quietly. This would be great. So I think that's a really good exercise. Sorry, Vanessa?
And it gives you a percentage of like how much it matches with you and stuff. So
Yeah. And so if it's your personality is to want to spend time with small groups of people, it finds careers that can head you in that direction. If you like being around lots of people and making a fool out of yourself on stage, it says be a professor of a career course for UHS majors, things like that. And if you want, if you have a mind for technology like Steve Jobs, you can go and become a Steve Jobs and create the iPhone. So so Focus 2 is wonderful. But of course, nothing beats just getting to know people who are doing the thing that you want to do. Right? Yeah. So any last thoughts here before we close out the session for people? Anything you want to leave in the hearts and minds of the people watching this video?
I think it's important to know, kind of like reiterating the quote at the beginning, but don't settle with what major you came in with. If you don't like it, then change it. You're paying all this money to go to the school, whether you're paying it, the government's paying it, your parents are paying it, someone else is paying for it. Don't keep the major that you are in if you don't like it. And there are so many other places. And if you don't feel comfortable, then there's so many people that can help and help you change your major, help you change your minor, help you add things, that we're all here to help you.
And it's going to be harder if you stick yourself in a major that you don't like and you're just going to push yourself through. Like, find something that you're actually going to want to do for a while, because if you don't like it, it might be more money if you don't change it now than if you change it in the future.
Yeah, I mean, both of you bring up really, really strong, strong points here. Like, do what you want to do, and that takes a certain amount of bravery, right, to do that. But it also saves you a lot of emotional energy because you are actually not fighting yourself to do the thing that you don't want to do, right? Yeah. So that's wonderful advice. I know personally from both of you, from hanging out with both of you and talking to you, once you all figured out a different major or added and adapted your majors, you definitely took greater ownership in your college decisions, but also it felt like a weight was lifted and you knew where you're heading and you felt really confident about where you're going. So I think those are like, that's the real life outcome that I see in both of y'all. And I'm glad that you are able to spend the time telling us about your journey today. So thank you all for attending, and thank you all for being a part of this workshop. Please remember to comment on these videos and to use the peruse all functions to annotate. You will be put into a drawing for gift cards for the bookstore, $25 Outpost gift cards. If you do engage with these videos and answer the questions that have been posed and or comment and include thoughts along the way. So anything that you post will qualify you into the drawing for these cards. So hopefully you get to win one and you get to buy, you take that money and you go buy yourself what did you say? There's unicorns with sweaters?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Get yourself a unicorn with a sweater. Thank you all for attending and best of luck over this semester, and we will see you in the spring.